Hi, I'm Deepti, host of IDAA Hub Talks podcast Podinar series. My background is extensive experience working with various startups. In today's inaugural episode, we are focusing on a fundamental question that every business leader is asking. What is IDA Hub AI podcast about, and why do we need this? So basically, unlike other podcasts which are focusing on broad technology and theoretical possibilities, IDA Hub podcast is not to discuss about whether AI is going to change the world. We know it is going to change the world, but we are here to help navigate the overwhelming marketplace of AI solutions and find the ones that deliver measurable results. I'm joined by my co host Deepak, who has rich experience in software sales and solutions. Deepak, do you want to shed some light on recent news with regard to AI?
Yeah, I would say before that, hello everyone. Nice to kick off this series with Deepti. I'm excited to be talking to you on a weekly basis, right? And yeah, so the I would say three things that are dominating the news cycle. One is the MIT study or report, research paper that actually talked about 95% of the AI internal projects are a failure, only 5% are successful. We'll actually deep dive into that later in the segment today. The second thing is Sam Altman came out and said AI could be reaching the bubble state, right? So not in terms of adoption, but in terms of valuation, right? You see all these $100 million pay packages to AI engineers. I think that's raised a lot of eyebrows. And then the third thing, which actually is kind of related to number two, is data is actually becoming, I would say, a cornerstone for AI. And you saw with Databricks, recently raised funding, reached a valuation of $100 billion, right? Databricks and Snowflake are definitely dominating the data marketplace. Definitely, I would say a cornerstone, or actually, I would say a framework or a foundation for AI projects to succeed. Those are the three I would say.
Yeah, those are really good ones. I would say we would like to deep dive into state of AI in business report, mainly because a lot of them did share highlights last week, and our LinkedIn was flooded with that, but not many went into details of that. So that's what we would be doing today. Deepak would be
Yeah.
sharing the screen.
Yep. So let's go ahead and walk through the report. Hopefully you can see my screen.
Yeah, I think we can.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So this is the report that we're talking about, right? So go ahead, Deepti.
Yeah, I mean, the main thing outcome of the state of AI in business report was despite 30 to 40 billion in enterprise investment in Gen AI, this report uncovered that a surprising 95% of the organizations are returning zero, are getting zero return. So we want to understand what is this report talking about and why 95% are failing and what is that 5% of them are doing here.
And yeah, and take the learnings from that, right? So I think that's the key aspect of it. And I think these are the authors who published this paper. So let's go to the first segment, which is I would say all these things are I think we can actually share a link to this report,
Yeah,
right?
actually,
Yeah, in the show
uh,
notes. Yeah.
yeah, what was the main thing was also even though adoption is really high, the report also says that disruption is very, very low. So we could start by examining this sectors, Gen AI disruption, which is varying sharply by industry. As you can see here, even though a lot of sectors were examined here, the most which benefited the most were or we're able to get the most out of Gen AI projects were media and telecom and professional services here.
Yeah, and technology obviously being there. I think the report actually says it's actually the scoring is 0 to 5. We don't see the 5 here, but because obviously, waste of space here. But yeah, so technology, media, and telecom is the top one here. Professional services because we can actually see why it is, right? So technology, obviously, people are using it a lot for especially improving the workflows in terms of using Copilot or Cursor to actually vibe coding, right? So make sure that they can actually code faster. Media and telecom, as you can see here, there is a lot of AI content, native content, right? So I actually saw, yeah, I think Gucci or somebody, they recently did a completely AI model that is like perfect in every shape or form, and so that actually is one of the things that people are using to create rich content using AI. Deepti, you want to talk about the professional services aspect of things and also healthcare?
Yeah, with regard to healthcare and pharma, there have been a lot of pilots which have gone into documentation and transcription pilots. Um, Clinical models were unchanged, but you could see that professional services was the one which clearly made a difference in terms of efficiency gains, client delivery. Um, the client delivery part remains largely unchanged here.
Yeah,
Um,
yeah.
yeah,
Actually, what it's saying is there's a lot of efficiency gains on the back office side of things, and I think the report also talks through that. But where they're not really seeing or people are not still hesitant to adopt is the customer facing side of things, right? The clinical models, which actually it defines the outcome of all these different things for clinical studies. And even consumer and retail, you see there is a lot of activities going on the support automation side of things, but not really on the customer facing loyalties and things like that.
yeah. I think we can go over to that custom enterprise tools, how they're reaching, what are they doing to reach production. Yeah,
Yeah,
this is we go slightly above. Um, only what you can see is only 5% of them are reaching from to production when many of these out there are running various pilots, right? And why is this happening? So chatbots, most of the chatbots we use regularly on a personal life, they succeed, they're easy, and I use ChatGPT, I use Claude, I use Grok, and similarly many of others are using. But what is happening is when the same things are being used on an enterprise level, they are failing. So that was a clear thing that came out, and one of them, I remember one of the executive leader from an organization was saying, I use it on my personal level, but what is happening is the same vendor who is integrating ChatGPT within this application, they are not able to see similar results.
yeah. So I think uh, I
So
think
what
yeah,
Yeah, what's really holding back most of the AI tools is they don't learn, and they're not able to integrate into workflows. Mainly because you can see that when chat with Chat GPT, you would know that okay, if I don't like this output, you can say down, arrow down, and it learns by repeatedly doing that. But the same thing, it's not happening on the enterprise side.
yeah. I think the another thing here, this is also an important section here in terms of the investment patterns. Um, in in enterprises where they are using more, right? So these are the different functions. As you can see here, sales and marketing, obviously, people want to get more sales and more leads, right? So I think that's where a lot of investment is going, and operations, right? In terms of improving the efficiency. DT talked about document summarization, things that are easy. I would say easier in the sense that they are behind the scenes, so it's much easier to actually gain the efficiency. Um, where I think there are still not much adoption is on the customer service side of things and finance and procurement. Customer side, it's still more of a chatbot, but does it go and solve the problem for you? No, right? The chatbot is just a gateway to talking to a customer service rep or something like that.
Yeah, I think we can go with the barriers keeping organizations trapped. Somewhere around here, um, the barriers,
Yeah, the
yes.
barriers. Yeah,
Yeah, as you can see, this is a really good one where why Gen AI pilots fail and the top barriers to scaling AI in enterprises. If you can see the top, on the top, it's unwillingness to adopt new tools is on the top, and the next comes the model output quality concerns, and the third is a poor user experience. So even though they are able to adopt these tools on a private level, as on an individual level, we are not able to see there is a lot of unwillingness to adopt them within an enterprise.
yeah. I would say I think they're all kind of somewhat related, right? So because of the model output quality concerns, that actually leads to poor customer experience, right? User experience, because you're not getting consistent response, right, from the chat agent or whatever. So you kind of don't want to use it in a very critical workflow or something.
Right. And because it does not integrate well into their workflows.
Yeah,
So we can go with a learning gap. So what's that learning gap that defines the divide,
yeah,
right? So you can see, yeah, this is exactly what I was talking about. Chat GPT's limitations reveal that the core issue behind that, because these models forget the context and they do not learn and they do not evolve with what is needed when it comes to an enterprise level. So one of them also says that um, our purchased AI tools provided rigid summaries with limited customization options. With ChatGPT, I can guide the conversation and iterate through. That's what I was talking to about before, right? So you can see that um, learning from feedback is extremely important, and the manual context. And
yeah.
sometimes when you require a manual context, which is required every time, that also becomes a barrier.
Career, exactly. Yeah. This is actually interesting, right? When the stakes are high, that I think that talks about the reliability or lack of reliability, right? You would rather assign it to a junior colleague than give it to AI, right? For complex projects, it is still 90% is human preferred, right? And for quick tasks, obviously email summaries, yeah, AI, definitely steals the show here. And I think that's great because what it's showing here is that I think one of the myths that was in the earlier section is AI is going to replace my job. No, AI is not replacing a job because there is still a lot of evolution to keep up or improve this percentage. But it's going to improve your efficiency, and also, AI is more of a assistant, right? I think that's what this is showing, that it's definitely helping us to do our work more efficiently, more faster, more quicker.
Yeah, I think we can see what is that these best builders are doing. So when we talk about
Yeah,
builders, it's the startups which are building products, or even other big companies out there which have these uh, products, Gen AI products out there. I think how the best builders succeed. I think we should scroll
this
to
one.
that one.
Yeah,
Yeah, this is a really good one. So what is that the best builders are doing, right? How are they approaching this? one of the thing is they are able to build more adaptive systems that learn from the feedback. That's one thing. And the best startups are also focusing on very narrow use cases with high value use cases, and they are able to integrate deeply into their workflows. And with continuous learning, they are able to, and the customized completely for them, they're able to build a better, they're able to succeed in building the right one for an enterprise.
Yeah, I think key is here. The key here is not building a general purpose tool, right? The startups that are succeeding, obviously, are embedding themselves into inside workflows, right? Which is very important. And obviously, when you do that, it adapts to the context as well. And I think that's actually is definitely one of the uh, things that successful startups are doing, right? Um, Winning startup build systems, your feedbacks. Yeah, so this is also very important. Like what we see is how the executives are selecting GenAI vendors. I think this is very important when, as we talk to other startups and companies who are trying to sell AI, how are executives selecting the GenAI vendors?
Yeah, it's really interesting to see they are able to they're focusing or starting with a vendor they trust already, and because they do have a deep understanding of their business processes and workflows, and also they're looking at those products which provide minimum disruption to their current tools. So the top three ones you can see are really important over there. And yeah, the
Yeah,
ability to improve over time. Yeah.
yeah, I would say if you summarize it in a nutshell, right? So it's trust is number one thing. The second is how do I really understand the business workflow, right? So I can contextualize that. Third thing is it disrupting my current workflow, right? So do I have to retrain my entire employees to do a way of doing things new, or is it going to integrate so it's actually helps them do things faster, more efficiently? And obviously, the fourth thing is the most important thing, which is data governance, security, right? And data privacy, right? So making sure that if a tool is catering to all those data needs, and obviously reinforcement, right? So finally, reinforcement learning. So I think I would say these are like the top five that jumps out in terms of summarize those.
Yeah. So
Yeah,
I think,
if you see here, I can't risk client data mixing with someone else's model. I think that's a very important thing, right? So having a multi-tenant setup, making sure that you are not exposing data, right? Not only in the database side of things, but also on the, uh, the model, and also when you expose the data to your customers through your front-end tools or applications or whatever, everything needs to be siloed properly. So even one small thing, especially if you're selling to healthcare or fintech, it actually leads to millions of dollars of fines and regulatory burden.
yeah, um, I think we
So
should, yeah,
yeah,
go
so I
ahead.
think this is an important one, right? So what's the winning playbook for crossing the divide? I think the successful categories. So people who are building tools or startups. This is actually a good, I would say, way to see, okay, how do I reach the market faster? What are the areas that I can, go ahead.
Yeah, tools with low start setup burden actually and fast time to value outperform. You can see that that's what they favor, and that's what they. It's a winning playbook. So channel referrals and peer trust are also growth levels for bridging the divide. But you could say that if you're anybody who is building things out there, they should look at low setup burden and fast time to value over here. And the
Yeah,
categories are also really interesting.
important. Yeah. Um, yeah, I think we covered this, right, in terms of how do you leverage how people are, especially vendor management. Like if you were targeting enterprises, large enterprises, obviously there's multiple ways that you can reach out to the vendor management team, the procurement team, but that's actually a very difficult task, right? So how leaders are discovering Gen AI solutions? Obviously, vendor relationship, existing relationships that you saw, they trust. That's something that people are going towards. Peer networks, right? So if you see all these different summits and groups like chief data officer, one chief information officer networks and peers, they all reach out to the other ones and say, hey, have you used anything? So can I leverage the same thing? So getting that peer network or peer reviews, I should say, that's very important as well. People are definitely trusting that more. Events and media, obviously, you see a lot of conferences and things like that. People do go to, and LinkedIn is a great source for showcasing your products in terms of media that I will see. Webinars definitely play a big role, right, in terms of having those industry-specific webinars. That's actually even better. And finally, board members, right? So if you have contacts, and that's why startups with a lot of VC funding, they do get into through the door to some large enterprises because a board member is referred to them, right? So that way, there is a leverage to actually get inside the door and then maybe get a quick evaluation done, right? And finally, I think the last one, internal processes, but obviously this is a lot of work, right? So cold inbound is a tough one, right? So I get hundreds of emails every day, and my company obviously filters a lot of them, right, in different folder. But sometimes some things do catch my eyes, right, attention. So how do you create those compelling inbound? I think that's very important.
So the top two things are still existing vendor relationships when it comes to enterprises, partner referrals, and peer recommendations. You could say those are the top three
Yeah,
ones. So, yeah.
that shows a lot of trust, right? So people definitely want to trust somebody. I think that's what it's showing. I think that's the essence of that report. um,
So basically, the top three things when it comes to conclude this was you had to the report says clearly says buy rather than build and empower line managers rather than central labs and select tools that work well and integrate well into your workflow. So that the three main things here. And for builders, they need to build products that integrate well and also learn from continuous learning is also really
yeah.
important there. Yeah,
So Deepti, before we close, what's the one AI tool that you cannot live without?
it's Claude.
Claude. Yeah, I would say the same thing. Claude is a go-to, right? So yeah, without Claude, I think it'll be um, I would probably have to do multiple Excel crunching and data crunching, which Cloud does it for me. So yeah,
So, another thing I don't think we should really ignore because this AI world is really becoming very competitive. The next big thing is agentic AI and the web of agentic AI, which is what this MIT Nanda project is about. And it's really interesting what they're working on.
yeah. I think the one thing that caught my attention on that towards the end, I think we didn't show that was procurement teams. Can they actually using this agentic AI web can based on a business pain, can it go and find all the different solutions and agentically try certain things? I think that's like I would say if we can reach that state, I think that will be a bliss, right? But yeah, but that's very aspiring and definitely something that I think we all should be looking for. Next week, I think we'll probably talk about some big ones coming like NVIDIA. I think everybody is looking for what NVIDIA is going to say in terms of agents and where they are growing, you know, other than data centers, like there is a robotics, automation, and all those things are coming through, right? So the physical aspects of AI, right? I think that's also something to watch out for in this space.
Okay. So I guess you're able to understand what our podcast and Podinar series is going to be. It's more on focusing the right innovative startups, talking about enterprise adoption, what's happening, what worked, what did not work. And that would be our priority for this podcast and Podinar series.
Yeah, and we plan to bring guests from those different industries, right, with rich experience in the enterprise side of things, and also innovative startups as well to showcase their products too.
Yeah. Anybody from any healthcare, finance want to talk about their Gen AI or AI adoption within the enterprise? Welcome to reach out to us. We would like to host you on this show. And also, any startups with innovative AI products out there, we would like to use this to showcase your products here.
All right. Thank you, everyone.
Thank
Bye.
you, everyone. Bye bye.